Buckle up.
We're live.
Hello, my beautiful friends. It's Isabella Lomba here, and I am inviting you for another epic episode of the Matrix Momentum. I'm having my great colleagues here with me, joining me from different parts of the world, and we are super excited to share today's topic. Besides that, is so timely and relevant. We also obviously wanted to give you some amazing tools to work through challenging times, because we are seeing a lot of defeat, a lot of changes, a lot of business closures, people still looking for jobs, economic downturns, country closures. We're seeing a lot of conflicts on so many levels. But guess what? The beauty is, with a great army of people in your own corner, you can triumph after the defeat. And who best can tell you than people who've been through that? And I can support you in that process. So with that in mind, we're having here Dr. Future State joining us. Hey, Shay, how are you doing? How is it going?
It's going fantastic, Isabella. Things are great. The country's starting to open up again. The weather is actually good, which is strange. But now when I say good, it's relatively speaking. It's not Dubai or Saudi Arabia good, but it's good for Ireland. So we're happy. But all's good. It's great to see the bit of life in the economy. Everything open up. It feels like normal. It feels like we're getting back to normal again. It's really good.
And that is such an amazing feeling, right? With the spring, with the sunshine, with more outdoors time spending, and such a great mindset, right? Because we have now a lot to look forward to it. So great to have you. And now we're having the big tinker here, Mr. Hamsik, who is focusing so much on transformation aspects in from operations stands and everything in organization that needs to happen. And been there, done that. Sometimes you just really hate it, because even though you bring in great things, people resist. It's like, why won't you triumph, right? So sometimes it's not easy to be in your corner, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's not easy. Thank you, Isabella, for the introduction. And everything here is fine also in Dubai, where weather is getting hotter and humid. But cases are going down, and we are getting back to normal, as Dr. Future State was saying. Yes, so all is better. All is going for the better. We are all optimistic here.
That is fantastic. So we covered Dublin, Ireland, we covered Dubai, EUI, and now we're having the Zoom back to Europe, to Berlin, and we're having the Guardian of Dream Space, who is joining us, Mr. Arvind, who is also been traveling. He is back now in Berlin and can give us just a little quick snippet what's happening there. And how are you doing?
Hi, thanks, Isabella. So as you mentioned, so I just came last night back from Gran Canary Islands, where I was trying to write my book, and weather was better there, and definitely, and situation was better. Like people could sit outside and eat and open outside space. But here in Berlin, it's as similar to other places. There are restrictions. Hopefully by 21st of May, they might relax the restriction. It seems the incidence level are low, and low than how like last year. And so hopefully looking forward to that. Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Great to have you back, and great to have you rested and opportunity to reflect, because that is also part of the journey to triumph, which we're going to depict in a second. And now we're having someone who is joining us from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. He is master of Unleash and how to unleash and maximize your potential, but he's also having expertise in not only transformation, but everything related to organization and around the sales and operations and functions within. So, Mr. Ahmed Khalid, how are you? How is everything going on your end?
Everything is good, Isabella. Thank you for this amazing introduction. Actually, I'm in my vacation. We had here Eid vacation, as we said, and I had another 2 weeks for vacation. Things getting hotter. I think that there is a lag between us and Dubai, as Hamamsi said. but the wave of this hot condition, it's coming today. Actually, I was in the swimming pool today and I couldn't resist just for 1 hour. I came back to home. So the hot weather comes back, but everything is beautiful, as I say always.
That is
I feel
fantastic.
terrible for your hot
It's just a
weather.
lack of, it's an attitude, right? Things can happen around you, but if you still chose to focus on negative versus positive, and when we focus on positive, we have so much to be grateful
Right.
for, which is really segueing to our topic today, not only because of his relevancy and because of so much that is happening right now, as we're hearing, as we had a chance to really examine the feedback conversations with different people across the world, we're seeing a lot of people stuck on things that they cannot do and on that defeat aspects, right? Versus of that amazing opportunity for triumph. And of course, I'm greeting you here from a beautiful sunny Colorado. We're finally have no rain and no snow, which is unusual for us. But in the same time, it's just so beautiful to see a lot of progressive movement in the United States. And I'm super excited to share some of those perspectives as well. So with that in mind, I just wanted to quickly ask any of you that are here today with us, when you think about a defeat, how do you perceive? What is your definition? Because I really think will help audience and listeners that are watching and hearing you would share. How did you really first time had a chance and exposure to the defeats in your life, how that progressed over a period of time, and how did you tackle on an individual level in addition professionally? So you can contrast both of those aspects, individual and professional. Who would you like to go first?
I might give it a try, Isabella. Like, there's the word defeat for me. Like, this is something that I learned over years and years, because again, like, you know the meaning of a word, but what it truly means to you as you grow older, it takes time to really, you hear the words all the time before it to mean something to you, right? So for me, defeat means when you stop trying, when you give up. Like when you fail at something, you know, when you don't achieve what you plan to set out, that's not defeat. That's just an attempt. And then your goal is to make a better attempt the next time. You don't give up. But I see it and the reason why I say that, because like I'm a big believer in goal setting and goal achieving, more to the point. And I try and help people. And I see people who are trying to give up smoking and they could go cold turkey, for example. And then after 2 weeks, they start smoking again. And then they go, I knew I couldn't give up. And I'm just going, well, you didn't just, it's not just about giving up. Obviously you had one, but forgive yourself and try again. But many people don't. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy then. I knew I couldn't give up. And then you had a cigarette. Then you confirmed your own bias, you know? So for me, defeat is only when you stop trying. And I remember this because like I grew up in a family of sports. We played a lot of sports to a very, very high level. And it was always about competition for us. So for me, getting better, like in business or in anything I did, there was always a competitive aspect to it. So I always wanted to be better. And like they call it now the growth mindset. I didn't understand that as a kid, but it's the growth mindset. And even going to college, like I studied engineering. It's not an easy degree. I never left an exam early. Even if I didn't know the answers, I had this strategy. I put everything I could on the paper and hopefully I got brownie points. But I just never gave up, and I've never failed an exam because of that. So for me, it's all, no matter how bad your attempt is the first time, it's all about keep trying. You know, it's not about trying to say something, I knew I couldn't do it. It's about changing the tone, changing the words. God, I can't do it now, but I will be able to when I learn X, Y, and Z. It's about changing those words you say to yourself in your brain. It's not about your first attempt, it's what you do next.
I adored what you say, Shay. It's really lovely because I believe that defeat could be the best beginning. Seriously, defeat could be the best beginning. And it's all about us. It's not about anyone else. So how you think, how you perceive yourself, this is the best thing in the world. And I was wondering, and I realized even that why most people in this world, they don't pursue what they have to pursue. And realize that most people, they think that they don't deserve this. This number one. Number two, they think it will never happen to them because they have to fix their belief structure. And I was one of these victims. I'll be honest with you. I was looking for three things in my life. Number one, I was waiting for the luck, and luck will never happen. Luck will never come to you at all. I'm telling you, unless you chase it. This is number one. Number two, I was looking for Santa Claus. So he will come, and I swear he will come and he will change my life. Santa Claus, I don't know who is, but I believe that he will appear sometime in my life, and it will never happen. Seriously, it will never happen. And I realized that after all of this, I need to be the hero of my life, and everyone has the same power. Everyone has the same power, and I'm telling you that most people, they live in a getting by life because of the other people's opinion. Seriously, they live a life that was given to them, not life they even designed it by 1%, because the people around them, they convince them that this is you're worthwhile, this is you deserve this. But once you change the belief structure that you have it in your life, and once you have a compelling why, enough reasons in your life, you can change everything. And I believe that change is coming from inside, not outside. If you want to change everything around you, you have to change internally. And one thing before I close it, I believe also, if you want to change everything, and if you want people to perceive you that you are an inspiration, and you have to show your struggles, because people will never believe in your success unless they see your struggles. Any successful people, any successful person in this life has some struggles. And don't believe that any successful person that he doesn't have any struggles. We have failed every day. But as you said, Shay, that the reason that you have something in your life, you continue. You are not a failure. I consider myself a failure. Anyone a failure if you quit. But if you don't quit, and if you repeat it again and again and again, you will reach somewhere. This is life. It's about
exactly, Khaled. I'll take from you here, when you talk about struggles, I will take from you here with my favorite quote, which is from struggles we are reborn. I've seen a lot of people who faced, they were really rock bottom, and suddenly they boomed. It was like an arrow. They rebounded, and it took them, like, even if it takes in a year or two or something, but they really rebounded so fast, and through consistency and through believing in themselves and changing their mindset, as you and Shay were saying, they managed to change to the better. They managed to make multiple sources of income. They managed to really change their life and change the lives of the people around them, not only change their own life. Because when you control your brain, when you control your subconscious, when you believe in your capabilities, you will do, believe me, you will do miracles. Miracles still exist, but once you believe in yourself and believe that you can do it. As you said, we were always controlled through our system, that ecosystem that we're living in, through our family, through our close friends, so that they see you every day, you cannot do something, and they have this in their mindset that you cannot do that, and they always tell you cannot do that, and you just follow that. Once you set yourself free of that, and try new things, explore new things, you will find your life totally changed, totally changed. No matter what happened, no matter what people tell you, no matter how people will stand in front of you and try to let you down, try to make you fail, no matter if you lose a job, no matter if you even fail in one subject. 1 year or 2 years that you lose from your life, they mean nothing. Once you change your mindset, you're set to go, and you're set to live your dreams.
Lovely.
Excellent share between Shay, Hamsi, and Khalid. And now we're going to go to Mr. Arvind. Do you mind sharing your perspective, because you had a fair share of the challenges and difficulties and in personal and professional life, and you are not only triumphing and succeeding. So do you mind sharing something that was pivotal for your journey from personal professional level for that triumph?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know if I should be considered as a role model of a success. I don't think so. So for me, defeat was winning or losing was never a thing, because I was never given an opportunity even participate in the fight. So it was never defeated or lost. It was never. So always that I had to just stay away from the game or the competition or whatever the challenge or whatever the opportunity is. So as someone who was born and brought up in a war zone, and then after I became a child refugee and a stateless person for 10 years, so I had to live in I have to hide myself. So for example, when I was in the school, I was not allowed to go to school initially, and after a lot of struggle found several ways to go to school as a child. And so the next struggle is I got into school in some different way, and now I have to go to university. So again, there's going to be that barrier again. The filter is going to happen. How I am going to fight that challenge, because they are not going to let me even participate in the fight. Whether losing or winning is a different game. So when I was 16 years old, I heard that there is one way that I could go to university, because a certain politician in the country where I lived as a refugee 25 years before I lived, and they set a law that, 25 Sri Lankan Tamil refugees could go to university, and there was some reservation. So I believed, this is the only way that, I'm going to even to be allowed to participate in that fight, winning or losing. And then what I did for 1 year, I slept only 4 hours to fight, to really prepare for that fight, because usually most of the people that I'm fighting are very privileged people. So I have to score 99.999 to get to that. This is how in India, right? Millions of people, millions every year, 1.2 million, graduates. So 10 million people will just write the exams, entrance exam to go into the universities and so on. So I was, so I thought, among that millions, there's only 25 seats possible that I could, get away to go to university, and because there's some certain reservation. So I said, I need to fight for it, and I was thinking that I'm included in the fight, so I was really preparing for it. So 4 hours. So how I prepared myself every day. I go to school at 7 in the morning, and the school finishes, then we have like special class, normal school and special class. And then we finish at 4:35 p.m. I'll go home. I will eat something. And by 6, 7, 9 o'clock, I sleep. Yeah. So 8 o'clock, I sleep 2 hours. I wake up at 10 o'clock. I go to school again. So I slept only 2 hours, and the whole from 10 in the night till next day morning 4, I will be in the school studying. The school was all kind of open for people to just prepare in. And then I go home at 4 in the morning, 4 to 6, I sleep. And then again at 7, I'm back to school. Like this, I just prepared. I was using all these Da Vincian methodologies of, these type of poly sleeping methodologies and different mnemonics and so on to really prepare for that. And 3 months before the exam, they said that 25 seats is also not there anymore. The policy is cancelled. So there's no way, no matter what I'm going to achieve, I'm not going to go to university, because they're not going to let me even participate in that fight. So I was like, I don't care. Now losing and winning doesn't matter. And I didn't prepare anything, and I went to the exam without any preparation. I scored 94.75 in my school. I was a state rank holder in one of the states in Tamil Nadu in India, but still I was not allowed to go to university.
Wow.
So for that moment, from that moment of my life, and that was I decided, there is no winning or losing if you are not even given that position. So in that, till now, it's like that. I see a lot, being a social entrepreneur, I get a lot of rejections, because we have to always write fundraisers. As a scientist also, you're always writing funds and fundraising fund, and also as a social entrepreneur. So that kind of become numb to winning and losing, Yeah.
Yes, you have to build the muscle. So thank you for sharing that. And then if with this in mind, I just wanted to add something. Being also a refugee as a teenager and someone who lived in 5 different countries on its own with no parents, no elder people, or no people to ask questions in terms of mentors or advisors, navigating and tapping into your internal transformation, to point what Khalid was sharing, how important it is, and transformation does come internally. It is the willingness and desire to be better. I remember when I was speaking on one of the stages of the large global conference, health conference, where we're all advocacy around the refugees, immigrants, and just overall healthcare well-being. And they asked me interesting questions in that audience at that time. And audiences, just let me just share, PhD degrees in healthcare, social work, psychology, psychiatry, you name it, right? Doctors, whatnot. And from work with the refugees alone, but also for people from all over the world, it was always like how some people succeed and accomplish so much and raise so high bar, like in your case, Arvind, and then how some people just that maybe enjoy even less, but they're not even remotely close for what they expect it should be at least the norm, right? And it's individual preference, even without a trauma and significant events. We can have 2 siblings raised in the same environment, and one to really be extremely successful and another not to be, and another one that has a very different mindset, very different approach, and frankly, very different type of personality, even though they were raised in the same environment with the same parents, with the same love and care. So reality is this, it is absolutely in work. It's that desire, right? To be better, to dream, to try, to fail, to raise up. And as you mentioned, these defeats. So I definitely use a couple analogies during my speech, and why I'm bringing back that question. Because for everybody that's watching, including Michael, great to see you. Shadi, thank you for being with us and asking and commenting. And yes, indeed, the story that Arvind shared, it is the story of the champion. Because so many people around the world are dying for opportunity. Some of them are waiting for opportunity to be handed to them, but some of them are creating those opportunities. And older we get and more established, more successful in terms of knowing what we know today, we can navigate that better and be that guiding light for others that are struggling and having difficulties. On the end of the day, it's individual choice. It's not any more circumstances, and we have the power within us to make a difference. So my answer was exactly that back to them, and showing it's just the mindset, and depending how much we emotionally develop ourselves. So with that in mind, I'm sure you have also beautiful stories of examples that help you to rise up after defeat and also triumph. Doesn't have to be big, but just something that really was a stepping stone for who you are today. And for all 4 of you, as my colleagues, as my peers, I just love to see where you're at right now. How did you arrive? How you're comfortable in your own skin? How much you truly have a undying desire and passion to help others, and a desire to show the way. So please, I'd love to start with Shay, with his story that really amplify that and help him from defeat to rise up and triumph.
Yeah, so there's about 10 stories I could tell you, Isabella, of different stages of the journey of where I am to today. But the one that really stands out for me, because like all the way, even though stuff was hard, like when I say hard, I don't mean like stress or life dependent or struggle for money. I came from a really nice family that were amazing, so I had a nice background. But in terms of struggles, there was points where I had to really dig deep and try and figure out who I was, because things were always comfortable, and then I didn't like being comfortable, and I started to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. But the biggest change, the biggest wake-up call for me was, I can tell you, there was a day, 2007, the day I got married, when business was good. I'd set up a business a year before, and my business partner was standing beside me, and I said to him, life just couldn't get any better. Within a year, I had lost my wife, and the recession happened. And just, that was the first time like that I was really struggling mentally and physically, and financially. everything just came at once. And yes, I was down. I was very down. But I'll tell you one thing, I had to eventually wake up and crawl out of that situation. I could have stayed there. I could have felt sorry for myself. I could have blamed everyone else and their mothers for all that situation. But it's when I had that realization where I couldn't blame anyone else. I had to take responsibility and then dig myself out of that hole. Mentally after my marriage, but also the business. And again, I had 12 mouths to feed. I could have decided to liquidate that business because we were owed a 7-figure sum at one stage. So I could have just decided, easy thing to liquidate. But then I said, no, that's not who I am. And over time, now it took a year, it took 18 months to drag that business back up to the top of the game. But it was a struggle. But that's what I learned who I was, Isabella. That's what I learned about what I valued and what was important to me. And they were the skill set. That was the stepping stone. And to your point, Hamamzi, what you were saying earlier on about, you know, fighting through those struggles. I really believe you find out who you are when your back is against the wall. You know, you really do find out what you're made of. And would I ever want to go back there? No, but I absolutely value what I learned on a personal level about being happy. Like and what you said as well, Khalid, about happiness comes from within. I was missing my wife, but I had to learn I had to be happy with me before I could let someone else get into my life, you know, or not just any type of relationship. And they were the big points to me, Isabella, about what I learned was important in life. And that was probably the biggest stepping stone for me to change, because up until then life was easy. That was the first really test, but it just all unfortunately came at once, right? When it rains, it pours, unfortunately.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, those struggles are the best growth points of your life. There's so much. And again, and here's the thing, I'm going to caveat that as well, because it's how you think of the situation. Because again, I know people who just, oh, why me, why me, why me? You know, it's everyone else. Why? But like, and I had to, one of my friends, I had to give them a wake-up call, because look, this happens to everyone. What's different about people is how they react, and it's what they do next. You know, it's so important to lift yourself up, and when you do, you'll be a better person for it.
Amazing story.
So rich.
Yes.
Amazing story. So if you allow me, I will share with you a story that I posted maybe like 2 months ago on LinkedIn, and it was real story that I just thought for a moment to quit. And this story, once I started posting on LinkedIn, I started by articles, posts, and then at a certain point of time, I wanted to move from writing into speaking. So I realized that I want to move into video creation. But, you know, it's the first time I don't know how people will perceive me, how they will think about me in front of the camera, how I speak, and all of that. And I created the first video and I posted it. And what happens exactly? In the same day, I received like a comment. Someone was giving me thumbs down and tell me that you have a bad accent of English, because I don't know why, but you don't understand the amount of sorrow that I received, because at this moment I was thinking to quit. I will stop, either to come back to writing. I will not go for video creation or just speak in front of the camera. I wait for 1 week. I stayed with myself and I said I will not continue. But there was some inner voice inside me coming back and asking myself, does it matter? I don't think it doesn't matter. It matters, because I believe that I have a compelling and enough why. I am here to serve people. I'm here to change people. I'm here for a real purpose. Then I came back in front of that situation again, and I continue the same journey. The lesson that I learned seriously from this story: just keep moving. Don't care about what will happen. Don't listen for the naysayers. As long as you have a real why and you have a compelling or enough reasons in your life, you'll keep moving. And if I quit at this time, I will not be here today.
Yes.
That's why.
Just add to that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's so
why.
important to pay attention which voices you're listening to, right?
Exactly, Isabella. That's why I'm saying again, guys, don't think, and don't pay attention too much for the external world. Think about what do you need, what do you have. And one thing also came into my mind. I asked myself, as long as I communicated well, very clear, I don't care about my accent. My accent, it's my dignity. There is nothing to be ashamed about my accent. This is what I have. That's why keep moving and don't think too much about what people will perceive you, because people will talk and talk and talk and keep talking, and they're right. It's their right, and it's my right also to ignore this, and you
Yeah.
also ignore it. This is what
The
I'm
only-
saying.
But
It
it's so
is
true.
easy
It's
to
a great
criticize.
point, because the most important thing in life is to like learn how to be comfortable in your own skin and not care about what other people say.
Yes.
Because the only person that can upset you is you. If someone says something to you that you don't like, either you give them the permission to upset you or you don't. The choice is yours. Yes,
Exactly.
they will say whatever they want to say, but you have a choice of how you accept that information. So at the end of the day, and this is the lesson I learned, I had to take accountability for my own actions and my own upset and my own anguish. And once I learned that lesson, everything became more clear. It wasn't perfect, but it's so important to hold that power to yourself.
Exactly.
That is a fantastic journey, and I'm so glad again. It's easy to criticize for people that are not doing the same work and don't
Exactly.
understand. And in
Exactly.
terms of also learning a language, it's unfortunate that so many people who are criticizing, they're not multilingual, they're not doing the lives, they're not creative, they're not putting themselves out there. You're very vulnerable, you're very open, you're very real. And that's what world needs more, and the real true stories, not artificial stuff or stories of someone else that we admire, respect, because ultimately it is also maturity and understanding by knowing those stories and how they play out. Shows and reflects not only the journey and what you have to overcome, but also who you became as a result. You cannot become with someone by sitting on the couch criticizing other people and wondering why you're not invited or included in certain conversations or certain opportunities, because it also comes with contribution. It comes with state of mind where everybody have a chance to shine. So with that in mind, I'd like to hear from you, Hamsi, some of the pivotal story moments that you had that really picked you up from that defeat into amazing triumph.
Yeah, I have a lot of stories, Isabella, but I have, of course, one in mind that I stayed in one company for 13 years and moving from one department to another and working with different managers, some good, some not that good to me. But suddenly I lost my job because in 15 days I had to move out after like 13 years of working with the company. And it was told to me I was working and doing some reports and working fine. Then suddenly I was called and they told me you have to leave, and this is what's happening. It's transformation in the company, and this usually happens. But it was, for me, it was something new, because this company, because I was in my comfort zone, it was like family for me, and I started my work journey there. So this was my like the first thing that hit me hard, of course, and that I had to look for a job for some time, because I had to have visa to stay here in UAE. I had to send back my family to Egypt, so it was kind of torn apart. I have to send my family back. My daughter would be far away from me. I have to look for a job by myself. Luckily, of course, I have family here. I could stay with them for some time, but this was the first test, the first wake up. So I need to change. I need to look to. I need to see what's in my CV. What should I do? Shall I add? Shall I study something else more? This is the first thing that came into my mind, and I challenged myself, and I managed to get a very good degree. It's like master's degree in supply chain, CPIM. It's a very good degree. This was the first thing I did. I started to think I have to change my mindset. So I quit smoking. I totally quit smoking. I went to the gym. I hit the gym very hard. I reached maybe my best form, and I lost like 15, 20 kilograms. So I had to change totally my mindset. I started working, listening to great mentors like Bob Proctor, like all other great mentors. I started to change my mindset, started to write, to discover my why, where I want to go. I started to write this every day. I started to meditate. I started to change myself totally. After a year and more, year and a half maybe in this story, and of course I don't want to go more in the struggles, but of course money was short. 1.5 year without almost without income and studying and doing different studies. I can tell you that I managed to bounce back after changing and after doing all this. I managed to bounce back maybe with double the salary that I used to take. And it takes time, it takes patience, it takes changing your mindset. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of course, support from your family, and they also give you a lot of support, a lot of courage from you to change your mindset, to start working on something else, to change your beliefs. But at the end of the day, it pays off. No matter it takes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, just never give up, as Shay was saying, and it will open up. Suddenly, the gates will open up. Just keep knocking. If it doesn't open, build your own door and open it, and you will reach. You will reach. Just don't give up. Just change. Allow yourself to change. It's not the end of the world if something like this happens. So this is one of my stories.
That is so powerful. And guys, again, everybody that is listening and watching, thank you, Abreen, being here, Shaded, Shadi as well, Michael. Thank you for great comments and participation, and everybody else that is watching and listening to this live. Inner work cannot be replaced. That's one thing we cannot buy. We cannot have a shortcuts. How do we have the components for that within ourselves so we don't? As well as, yes, everybody can lead, but it's leadership. It's not for everyone, and not everybody has the leadership skill sets. The same thing, transformation. Not everybody has those muscles, because it's a conscious decision that is often so painful for so many that they rather go and keep it status quo versus taking any risks and being vulnerable. And listen what you guys are doing. You're coming from such a different cultures, and yet you're putting yourself so vulnerably, openly on global platform, on global scale, and sharing your journeys. And that is so impactful and powerful. So with that in mind, I'd love to hear, we heard a lot of defeat in previous comment from Arvind, and some things that how much he sacrificed and yet did not pan out, they were out of his control. But he did not stop there. So I'd love to hear the part of the story where you took all of those defeats head on and triumphed. So please share that with us.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I think, similar story. So 10 years of my life as a child refugee and a stateless in that country kind of put me in a suicidal depression for pretty much 8-9 years. And I was always, the only thing that I was thinking, okay, that's their way, because the country where I ended up, they didn't let me live there and they didn't let me go there. So I actually I went to airport 6 times and I wanted them to deport me. 6 times I asked them at the bag, just let me go back, just deport me, and didn't happen. So I was kind of stuck in a big jail with a fake identity that I couldn't, study, I couldn't work. Wherever I go, I have to go with. I mean, of course, I did that, but in a false identity and 4 different languages and the slang and accent just to fake it. And when I came out of that, and finally the war ended in Sri Lanka, and after a year they let me go, and after 10 years I met my family, and I was kind of lost, and still that depression was continuing, and I don't know what to do in my life. And but for me, every barrier kind of taught me that I have to solve my challenges on my own. Neither another person or another organization or even the family is not going to be there, and they couldn't do anything all these years. And because of that, I always learned different disciplines. And as you might know, I'm an interdisciplinary, and I have background in science, engineering, art, and sustainability. And one of that I put a lot of effort was hypnotherapy, so human psychology, in a way that I kind of learned, and in NLP, and I went to different places, found ways to understand human behavior myself. And I think unconsciously I was applying some of these therapeutic methodologies on myself, unconsciously. And 2 years after I left the country, I was here in Germany. I was still like struggling to understand. And one time, what I did, this is a very well-known therapeutic solution of regression. And what I did, I kind of printed out all the good things that I have done, like paintings, my projects, and this and that. I just printed out and put everywhere, all all around the wall and the ceiling, and kind of burned few things which were kind of holding me, or like kind of things that my old identity. I burned my old identity, the fake old identity, and really also burned by fire. And then in my computer, I changed my screen saver, the background, Aravind 2.0. I mean, it was not actually my version 2, but it was multiple version. But I put it like version 2, and I wrote it below in a big letter: "Don't give a fuck." About anything, losing, winning, whatever, growth. Just do what you want to do. That's it. And this is a normal therapy in if you go to a psychotherapist or hypnotherapist, and this is something as a regression they do and to help you out. And I kind of came out of that, and then I saw I have my own original identity now, and people are accepting that identity of who I am. It doesn't matter where I come from, and opportunities started appearing very easily. And as usual, I was getting those opportunities, kind of a feeling, or maybe I'm lucky, kind of an imposter syndrome. But I started all of a sudden, after 24 years of my life, things started happening, and so in that time, I also got very big opportunities because I learned a lot of things and grew, and a lot of projects. I mean, even the last job offer that was given to me was €250,000, salary, and which in Berlin, in the US it's $1 million, because in Berlin is a very low living cost place. So it's around €250,000 salary I was given, but I was never ready to accept this. One company offered me long time ago €170,000 salary, and I asked them the question, why do you think that you have to give me this salary? How does it, how will that justify someone who is earning struggling a lot to buy a croissant for €1, and if I get that salary, I will go and pay €10 for that same croissant, and what will happen to that people? And so that mentality of the social aspect, because I have seen winning and losing and things taken, in a second, things can be gone, no matter however the lifelong achievements can be taken like that if you are in a different place in a different time. So at that moment, I saw that, okay, I'm not going to go in this materialistic and purely financial capital driven thing. I'm going to go with an impact driven life for me. And that's what I became a social entrepreneur. Of course, still a struggle for me. Financially, it's a big struggle because I spend majority of my time, 80% of my time, in the social enterprises and empowering people in different parts of the world. But the funny part is that, as Shay mentioned, that when he was seeing intelligent students, failing in exams, and when I was able to go to university in India, and I was not allowed to participate in any of these challenges and exchange programs or anything. I have to be a ghost in the shell. A lot of the fellow Indians, as Indians usually have obsession towards USA, and they went to US on an exchange program. And these people, some of them, they couldn't even know how to start a computer. And they're very successful people now. And one of my friends, there are some also smart people went, but they didn't have much, technical expertise as I had at the time. And one of my friends, he works in Apple, and he earns more than $1 million salary. And one day he called me and told that, Aravind, I envy your life, what you do, even though you're a social entrepreneur, because at Apple, he's working there for 10 years, and he's just running the rat race like a guinea pig, running the same and same. Of course, they're giving $1 million salary, Yes. and at that moment, I said, yes, that's what I think my way, my success is. I don't know whether you can call it as a it's not a financial success what I do, but I see it as an impact rather than a growth. I see an impact, and this is a triumph for me. And maybe those methodologies which I unconsciously applied helped me to come out of the 10 years of my depression. And I think a lot of people, and when I went to my guru, who was a famous hypnotherapist, he told that, Arvind, it's kind of a miracle because you yourself found out the way to come out of it. But a lot of the time people themselves, or they don't even know that they need a help. And that's why we need to really help people about the mental health, especially these days, that if you see someone struggling, advise them to go to an expert who can help them to come out of it, because not everyone might have that unconscious knowledge and skill to come out of it. So that's what I would say.
Do you know that there are many people, too many people, I'm telling you from an experience, that they're the same like your friend in Apple. They could have the best salary in the world. I'm telling you seriously, they have the best authority in the world, that they have the best positions in the world, but they lack something. They lack the sense of fulfillment. They don't have this sense of fulfillment because they don't understand, and they're afraid to manifest or go for something that they love, because as you said, it's a rat race. They become aware when it comes the retirement time. They come say they regret. Why did I spend all of my life just chasing money, chasing something that I don't love? And they come into regret at the time that you cannot return anything back. That's why do what you love. I love what you said in this board, what you say, I don't care, or that I don't have a fuck. Seriously, this is life. Don't care about what's happening around you. Do what you love. And I don't want to say take 100% risk, but take risk, do whatever you love, because you will live only one time. Live it with full happiness. Live it, do whatever you want. Do it from heart. This is the real life.
I agree. I totally agree, Khalid, like that. There's no dress rehearsal. There's no retakes. There's no reruns, and that was, again, the big wake up for me. The big one was like not to care. Going back to what your points were saying, Khalid, earlier about like what people were saying about you behind your back. I actually now enjoy people talking about me behind my back, because I've actually created an impact for them to actually waste their energy on me. That gives me a bit of satisfaction. For good or bad, I don't care. And by the way, what they say about me is none of my business. I don't really care. Like, I'll just do what I do. If they're not part of my journey, they're just gonna wash by me. Because, like, and again, when I was younger, I used to care too much about what people think. I was a people pleaser. And don't get me wrong, I still like to please people, but I don't get lost in if I didn't please them, what did I do wrong? Because that used to break my mental clarity all the time, thinking, did I do something wrong against them? But now it's just too much hard work. It's too much hard work to let people inside your brain, and I've learned to keep my circle of influence really tight, my family, my close friends, my matrix buddies, and but everyone else, like, they're passing by my life, they can come along for the ride, they can jump off whenever they want, but I'm on a journey with my family, with my close friends, and we're going to do it well. And it's all about positivity. And if I see someone I can help, to your point, Arvind, oh my God, like, I can't tell you how much impact, you talk about that word impact, like the impact I feel, the transformation I feel when I know I've helped somebody, because I know I helped them achieve something that they couldn't do, but it's also made me feel good inside, and when I see in business, when I see these dictator style leaders and managers cracking the whip, and yeah, get results in the short term, but you've got this disengaged team. And I know there's so many people, and I see it all the time, where people feel threatened and intimidated by powerful figures in business, not just their bosses, but other people's. And it actually boils my blood. If I see it, I have to intervene, because I just think it's the most insecure, egotistical thing ever. And it's so, people don't realize, you talk about mental health, right? People don't realize,
and
trying to make them putting people down, right? what that can do to them on the other side. They don't know what's going on in their life. That could be the thing that could put them over the edge. It's so disrespectful and it's so ignorant.
Very true, and I love where this discussion is going. And I just wanted to recap quickly here and reflect on one more piece before we all have to wrap up for today. Time is flying when we're having fun, but it's also flying when we're sharing powerful knowledge that I think, again, that's not the best way for everybody to learn. I remember one of my oldest mentors in my life, which was my father, that said many, many times, knowledge cannot be taken from you. Whatever you put in your head, because he loved my passion for reading. He loved my passion for asking questions and being curious, and that curiosity continued. And what I'm seeing in every single one of you continue to stay curious, not only what's going on around you in terms of innovation and change and opportunities, and how do you fit in those environments, but also how do you contribute, and what are you in need of in order to do something meaningful and something impactful. And that's the beauty. And on the end of the day, from all of this what you shared and every single one of us in this episode, people can take away position status, even for us who experience refuge, who lost their homes and loved ones and identity, and living in different countries and learning new cultures and languages and not feeling fully accepted or integrated despite our best efforts, right? On the end of the day, everything I learned from famous Olympians and athletes, when we know that we did the best we could and we did our part, and right now as our Matrix Momentum group here of advisory group, when we know that each one of us is doing our part, magic happens. No way it's going to fail, right? But you have to have the mindset in addition to skill set and also the burning desire. And one of the things that I see through my defeats to triumph, there were so many as well, but I want to just pick one, is that despite of have to study for third time my undergrad, had to study English as my sixth language, had to figure out everything as a woman, as a single woman, as a European in the United States, which a lot of people might think it's easy to integrate. But it's still, as you mentioned earlier, also Arvind, about accents or different, or you, Khalid, it will be always something to pick on, right? If we focus on differences, it's specifically differences that are irrelevant versus actually on similarities, but also things that are enriching. How enriching is that you speak multiple languages? How enriching is to understand multiple different cultures? How enriching it is to organization, to your inner circle, for people around you, for also all the knowledge and skill sets, and opportunity to expedite the learning, opportunity to solve the problems effectively, quicker and faster, because right now we have such a plethora of those issues, don't we? I just wanted to say the drive has to come from every single one of us, but when you find your tribe, like in this instances with the Matrix Momentum Advisory Group, that is where the magic happens, guys. And we really want to make sure that you are seeing the power behind it. How you stand and stack up as an individual contributor and how you stack up as a whole. And what you doing and what you yet to do. So with that in mind, before we close, let's just have a quick sentence or statement around something that's tangible and easy to apply for everybody watching and listening, how they can really ditch that defeat and because that's the choice. It's a choice to stay down on your knees. It's a choice to feel sorry for yourself. It's a choice to blame others, as well as it is a choice to rise up, persevere, keep going, and triumph. So what would you recommend? One quick advice that they can implement right away.
I can close it by one quote. For Nelson Mandela. He said, "There is no passion to be found playing small in settling for a life that is less than the life that you're keeping for it." So you have to inspire yourself. You have to go and move forward. You have to be the best version of yourself. Don't be afraid to manifest yourself. Don't be afraid to be the best version of yourself. Don't be afraid to manifest yourself. This is life.
That is so beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Khalid. Let's jump quickly to Arvind. Arvind, I would love to hear your take and one piece of advice for something that everybody that's watching and listening can quickly implement.
Yeah, so for me, like I would say that when you think of a growth, think of that as a whole, socially, economically, environmentally, spiritually, in all way. And if you think, for example, if growth is happening in your body and only in one place, then it's a tumor, right? You need to grow. That the same growth has to happen throughout your body. That's how you have to see. So the impact driven growth is something that people should always look for. And most of the time, sorry, my camera switched off.
We can listen to you.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you, yes.
Yeah. So I as a quote, like I remember that is, salary is a drug given to forget your dreams. So if you just chase only that, you are growing only in one way as a tumor in a body. And so always think about how you can distribute your growth across your whole. And that's my.
That is
No,
brilliant. That is
Amazing.
brilliant. I just want to point out, like, I learned one language at the times when refugee needed the most in Sweden that helped hundreds and thousands of people. And that was the Impact Growth example. And the reason I'm bringing that up, so anybody who's making fun of anybody's accents or English or whatever might be the scenario, you don't have no idea, even if it's not perfect, how many lives were impacted as a result of it. So never underestimate the power of that. Either it's a language or new skill set, own it and go for it and let the magic happen. So kudos. And with that in mind, let's see what Hamsi has to share from Dubai, please.
Yes, I'd like to say to everybody, be bold, have courage. And even if you had some struggles, had some people who pick up on you, like you were saying, have some managers who gave you a hard time, have some people who try to block your way, find your way. Don't seek revenge, seek kindness. Those people will really understand it and really hurt them more when you see that you're reacting your kindness, because you're not dealing with them. You're dealing with yourself. You're dealing with your values. Treat people with your values, the values that you were raised upon, and that's it. And don't give up, of course.
Brilliant. Wow, between Khaled, Aberrant, and Hamsi, I don't know how, it's a pressure now, Dr. Future State and me. How are we going to tap this now, Shay?
Let me see. But no, but look, they're all amazing points. They really are, especially Arvind, about those growth with impact. I think that's a huge game changer for me. For me, it's all about, for everyone out there, like, the biggest lesson for me was the words I spoke to myself, in my mind, my thoughts, because there's a great quote from Gandhi, your thoughts become your beliefs become your words, and your words become your actions, and your actions become who you are, right? And it's all about how can you change that voice in your head. And that's really even important when people are saying things to you about how you receive that. And because, again, I can't do this was a big one for me. And then I changed that to say, I can't do it now, but I will be when I train in whatever or do something. It's how I changed, how I spoke to myself was the big difference. And that was a game changer for me. And I still do it all the time. And nobody's perfect. You still have these flip backs into your old program, because this is program you're trying to override from years and years of growing up and listening to things and this rat race and everything. We're programmed. You have to rewrite that. Anyone who works for themselves now has rewritten that program. And my hands go up to everyone who has done that, who's taken the risk, who's got comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That is so powerful. And I just wanted to say I found my tribe, and I'm just so excited as a human rights activist and advocate and abolitionist, obviously. Just hearing my favorite quotes here, you mentioned that's proves and affirms that I'm in the right tribe here with my right peeps here on the same page. And what that means is that amazing natural alignment of the values, and you spot on, as defeat is a choice, it also triumph it is. And importance of understanding and speaking to ourselves positively, but also how we show up in areas that we can also improve upon. And triumph is amazing feeling. It is the state that future doctor, doctor of future state can tell you, it's an amazing place to arrive to, because it's so many different future states layers, right? Because as soon as we arrive to one, we get addicted to it and we can't go back because, oh my God, why we want to, right? And then now it's like, I don't want to stay stagnant. I want to keep going forward. And then we keep going to the next layer and the next layer. And that is when triumphant effect starts happening. And it's so infectious that brings and pulls everybody into that mindset. Our collective as a team, which we're just witnessing right here with the 5 of us and our beautiful audience here from Michael, Abrian, Yusuf, and everybody else that were able to come and partake, share, and really recognize the great synergies and Shady and others. So I just wanted to leave you with the opportunity to pause, reflect, and examine how you show up and with whom you're showing up with. And are you proud of your version of today, as well as associations of people you're showing up with today? And if you're not, make a change, adjust. And we're looking forward to next Wednesday when we're going to have another hot topic and opportunity to share with everyone. So thank you so much for listening to Matrix Momentum, from defeat to triumph, and all these great, powerful lessons.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone who joined. Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.